Welcome to What If Civilization Started Over, episode 32. Last episode we saw the end of the war against the Diamond Alliance. Of course, the Diamond Alliance was already departed back then, but the members were of course Brown and Magenta who faced their doom. Both countries are very small, and both Orange and Night Blue got land out of this war. But not the only country got land, because Dark Red returned from the shadows. They are operating again, but operating very vulnerable yet. We will begin this episode here in Slate in Korea, where they discovered gunpowder. This area of Slate is getting very rich, and they begin to discover more land surrounding this peninsula. They also are the first to discover Japan, and they are going on a conquest to, well, discover every part of this island. After a few weeks of expanding and exploring, they see much more land and the Slates claim it. They go a little bit more south to find that little island and go back east to find the rest of the island. But they do stop eventually to return back home, as well the governors have different plans to discover more area here in China. But also here up north, they want to expand their borders a little bit more. Their discovery leads to this border, and they are pretty happy with it. And Slate is eventually looking like this. They expanded greatly here in China. But of course, while this is all happening, we will return back to the war with Lavender. What they got as land all happened roughly before they attacked. And now Slate can attack even more of Lavender, and they are able to get a hold of a settlement. They go up north and demand that Lavender will surrender, or otherwise they will attack more. And Lavender, for now, weakened by the Slate's attack earlier, well, will declare that they will surrender. The peace treaty is simple. Slate just expands their border where they, well, claim the land. The colony of Red is gone, and they will have to do it like this. Slate expand with some new major settlements around their newly acquired coasts, but of course also in their major new land areas, where it eventually will look like this, but with two cities beginning to set up in Japan. Back over to Europe, where we will talk about the trade routes, as the Southern Pact is going to do something about a trade route. Of course, the old capital of Magenta is now just a normal major city, the same with Browns, well, now Sea Greens. But what the Southern Pact is going to do is that they are going to demolish a trade route. A trade route that was very convenient for Orange. They removed their end of the trade route that leads into Orange, and the one that is leading to Dark Red and into Night Blue. They demolish it completely. But that's the only trade route they remove. A trade route that was, well, fairly new and that helped Orange. But now, Pink really has something that is in their favor. Both Pinks, actually. As now that this trade route is, well, gone, most trades from Cyan will go back to Green and Pink. And Dark Pink before it will go through Indigo and Gold, of course, and then it will pass through Orange. They can go through, of course, Dark Red, but they are not doing that to Science, as they see the Southern Pact as a threat. Also because Cyan has not really a great relationship with the World Destroyers, they demolish a part of a trade route. They demolish their end of the trade route with Reddish Pink. And Reddish Pink, well, just demolish their part of it because, well, why would they keep it? And Magenta doesn't have a trade route, but luckily Indigo and Gold are stepping up for it. As we see one build that is going through Indigo and Gold right to the capital of Magenta. And this is how the trade routes will end up looking like for now. We are not done with the Southern Pact yet, as of course the newly acquired lands are very unstable, as the people who are leading the place, Of course, night blue is leading Italy and some of Central Europe. And of course, dark red is leading France, what they never did. They were more in the south. The people who are here from brown mostly and magenta as well are beginning to rise up. Also, in night blue and dark red both hoped that wasn't going to happen, at least not so quick. But after the war, people are scared that they just lost everything. Their old government that fled more to the northeast, that has now no way to come back. But especially this part of night blue, which is very hard to take control of, as they cannot go through reddish pink. Of course, they have to go through the land, the wavy land, before they can get, for example, to the last settlement. It's getting very unstable, and night blue underestimated how good they could maintain this part. Before night blue could even react, some provinces are starting to rebel. The most northern one are going to rebel, and slowly more provinces are going to do the same. As we see slowly but surely more people are rising up, and night blue wasn't ready for this. But eventually some troops arrived. They tried to intervene and go back in the areas that they want to claim back. But then some people are starting to attack back. Not just civilians are attacking right here, as the Southern Pact is getting attacked. After just a war, they sort of won. And the color that I choose for this wasn't just a random color, as reddish pink lead this operation, and the Square Pact declared war on the Southern Pact. We see reddish pink attacking night blue and taking over a settlement that once was magenta's. They claim even more and eventually circle more people in and kill them all. The Square Pact has made their move. But of course, many of the Square Pact members are not close by the front that opened up here, but such as light red, in baby blue, royal yellow and deep wine are closer to night blue's actual border right here with New Lime. But New Lime is of course in the Shield Pact, and they are sort of enemies with New Lime, and New Lime especially doesn't want anything to do with the Square Pact anymore longer. But then the Square Pact, and especially these four, sent a message to a typical country who can really help this war out. The letter is sent, and the country accepted their offer to join this alliance. A country that didn't do much and build up their economy and military especially, for if something would happen with their neighbor. And I am talking about Rosewood, as they joined the Square Pact and opened the war against the Southern Pact. They want the Southern Pact to be gone, as they know what it once was. They deviated from dark blue and don't want anything to do with it anymore. And the Southern Pact equals dark blue. And so to have a border with the Southern Pact, they're done with it. And we see that Rosewood will open the front. Night blue did of course not see this coming at all, and they were not prepared, as they were mainly prepared in the newer areas. Rosewood attacked pretty well here and are getting closer and close to the capital that is very close by their border of course. They also attack via the south and get a main portion of the country with ease, and even got a settlement in 2 weeks. Night blue of course also attacks back, and they attack reddish pink for the first time. The country that got never attacked before, other than magenta sort of did. They attack the mainland and they encircle this settlement and they get it back, and slowly but surely go into mainland reddish pink. Reddish pink tries to get their front back and widen it a little bit, but they can hold on the night blues that quickly, as also there are of course some dark reds, but not much, as the only core dark red members are from Spain and the rest are from brown, who don't support the government, the king. And some people are sent to the military even if they didn't want to, but they have to. So some people that are in the war fighting for Dark Red and Night Blue, they fight miserably and even they let some people win. As old brown civilians see an opportunity for the Square Pact instead of the Southern Pact. Reddish Pink does an operation to meet up with the border of Dark Red, and they can finally attack their country too. And they can also finally attack their country as well, as they slowly gain more land. And Dark Red and Night Blue cannot do anything about it. They gain their front back and Night Blue is kicked out of the settlement, and they are very, very surprised that the Square Pact can handle all this. But before they know it, Dark Red is also getting attacked, as the country that they attacked is finally ready to do a counter-strike. Red lands their boats on the coast and attacks Dark Red, their land that they actually got. There are still some loyal Red followers left, so they actually can gain much land in the south of Dark Red. But there are also some Dark Red followers here who make this operation a little bit less clean. Yellow also attacks and makes their front happen in the north. There are of course some lavender people, beige people as well fighting here, but not many, as lavender still is very weakened by the attack of Slate. Rosewood is very, very successful in their attack as well, as Night Blue has to scatter their military very well, and that is not going well for them. As Rosewood finally is there in the doorsteps of the capital, they enter the capital, and this war is slowly entering its end, many people think, from Rosewood. But this is not so easy anymore, as Dark Magenta joined the Southern Pact, a very loyal place for both countries. Of course, this was where Dark Red once lied. Magenta took it over, but now they see an opportunity to rise again. And now the world is in very slippy hands, as there are going to be many fronts. We see Dark Magenta entering Rosewood and gain few settlements. They were very, very prepared for this war, but there are not many settlements here in Rosewood near Dark Magenta, and they quickly gain more land as there were no troops here in the west. Rosewood finally has some troops back to fight against the Dark Magentas, and that goes fairly well, as they of course get help from other countries, but the countries that do help are not very strong. They do get back their main settlement here and wipe out a major part of Dark Magenta's forces. And luckily for them, they gained the capital of Night Blue. The king got killed by the hands of the Square Pact, and it is over for Night Blue. They tried to be an empire, but that failed miserably, and the country was left in pieces. Quickly, the colony, you can almost call it, in Italy of Night Blue gets no more troops to fight against the enemy. And Dark Red is busy with the forces of Red and Yellow, as they gained even more land of the Dark Reds. This was just a failed operation by the Southern Pact that returned. The troops of Dark Magenta are pushed fully back and they lose this war. And in the south as well. But Rosewood doesn't attack the country more than this. Reddish Pink steps in and claims the rest of Night Blue's colony, the tip of the boot as well, and the islands too. And now there is only Dark Red to deal with. But Red is pushing through with many troops they still have left. Same goes for Yellow, as they gain a new settlement after leaving the mountains right here. They go up north and try to let Dark Red surrender, as there was no set capital yet, as the Dark Reds were still busy with making that. Then the Dark Red's king that got chosen is found dead here in the place where Yellow killed many civilians in a city. The rats discovered that that was the king. They didn't even realize that that was a man who ruled this country. It luckily has come to an end, and the Southern Pact, the Second Southern Pact, was defeated by the Square Pact and the World Destroyers. And so we see the Southern Pact depart, and the peace treaty has to be made with the Southern Pact. We will first take a look at Dark Magenta, as they will not have too much consequences of joining this war, but they will have a little bit, as they of course attacked Rosewood, and Rosewood will gain a little bit more land out of that. They will gain these 3 provinces. What will happen with Dark Red was a very big question, as the World Destroyers, well, one, they don't want Magenta to return so easily, and especially not Brown. But Brown, yeah, that won't happen here. They also are doubting for what the Square Pact wanted for it. They guessed that Magenta would get land back from it, but they didn't want that. So there had to be a new option made, and that was going to be a very hard one for some. We see a new country form, Dark Mint, with a new government, and it will forget the past. It will combine some brown and magenta people who are actually very united after this war that happened against, well, their old alliance, the Diamond Alliance. And now only red and yellow have to, well, see what happens with the borders, the rest of it. We see yellow gain these 4 provinces, and red the rest of the south. And now with reddish pink, as they will gain these provinces that Magenta once had. But Magenta will gain as well. Magenta will back gain these provinces, and now they only have to divide this province back up, and that will happen while creating 2 provinces out of it, just like this. And with the rest, well, also a new country starts to form, as this is a part that, well, will deviate from Magenta after they lost the war, and there are actually many citizens who were not really happy when Magenta joined up with Brown with their alliance. And now with the rest of what Reddish Pink claimed. There are going to be many provinces who want to belong to different countries surrounding them. And well, let's take a look at that peace treaty. First, we will take a look at these islands, as they sent a letter to Butter to join with this, well, little country in the south, as they had friendly relationships with each other back when it was still Magenta. Butter will kindly accept this offer to gain these 2 islands and 4 provinces in total. They also get a message from these 2 provinces that they want to belong to Butter as well. We also see these 3 provinces wanting to belong to Cyan, and Cyan did, well, question it as first, as they are all stretching very, very long, but they see this as a very valuable land. As well, remember in the First Great War, they have some history here. As you see, they are very stretching in terms of west to east, but they kindly accept this offer, and they will keep these 3 provinces for their own. And the rest didn't want to belong to a different country and want to form a new one. And so we see Seafoam Green join this world. And let's take a look at their capital. Their capital will be right here, where the capital of Magenta was. And the capital of Dark Mint will be placed up in the north. I changed their color as well a little bit, as they were closely, well, together with sea green. And the last part of the peace treaty has to be done with Night Blue. We see Rosewood gain these, of course, France and the rest of, well, western Night Blue, together with the province they had from Olive. And the fact with Cyprus, well, Rosewood will send a letter to the king of Cyan that they can have it, as well they knew Cyan had it once, so they accept the offer too. Because Amethyst got attacked as well in a earlier war, they will gain one province too. Purple also gets the chance to expand a little bit, and they accepted that. After their defeat, Neon Lime will gain back their land from Night Blue, and so their capital will be moved back to where it was. Cyan gets land as well, and the rest is over to debate as what will happen with the rest and what will happen with the puppet state they had. Well, that's very easy to decide, as Dark Blue will be released. While at Night Blue, well, it still gets a chance to, well, survive, as there is no clear indication that there are people inside the country that they want to start over. This is how Night Blue will end up looking like, just like its former shadow. Dark Blue once was big and wanted a bigger empire, but failed miserably, and Night Blue, well, followed the same footsteps. They wanted to be big, but ended up, well, be just like Dark Blue. The capital of Night Blue will be right here in the middle of that new country. And we will also see other things happen. After this war, Rosewood steps down from the Square Pact, and we see Reddish Pink and Magenta both leaving the Square Pact alongside Cyan and Indigo. They all will join another alliance. We see the Triangle Alliance being made by Magenta. Other countries such as Indigo joins it, Reddish Pink, Seafoam Green, Butter, and most importantly, Dark Mint. And Cyan wants to be neutral. And finally, Europe is at peace again. The World Destroyers will not have any chance to, well, infiltrate more of Europe, as there are fully alliances here. Africa, they don't see that as an option, as these countries are fairly strong. So now they just have to improvise for the future. And maybe they have to get rid of an enemy.